Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmach Technology, and today I would like to discuss with you the issue around the vaccination. There is a whole lot of politics which is coming up in the news. Whenever we switch on the TV, there is always some issue. People are saying that, hey, this vaccine is not ready, the data is not available, and so on and so forth. So let's discuss about what is going on, and I just wanted to make few logical points in our discussion today, and that will clear the air little bit. I'm not saying that I am the expert and authority in this area, but I will just make some logical points. The first thing is that we must have faith in our scientists. I think we have the best people available and who are doing research in this area. So we must have 100% faith in what our scientists and doctors are doing, and where when they are telling us that, hey, the vaccine is ready, we should simply have trust in them and go with a positive mind and take the vaccination. So let's talk about what are the different types of vaccination which are being proposed right now. The first type is the types of what the Oxford has proposed, and it's sort of a wonder method of producing a vaccination, and that is very effective for coronavirus. What these guys have done is they have taken sort of a flu which infects the chimpanzees, and this flu does not infect the humans. There's enough data available to prove that the flu which infects the chimpanzee does not affect the humans. So they have taken that, and they have put a crown, a spike of the coronavirus on top of it, which is not the entire virus, it's just the protein of the coronavirus. So when this flu is injected in a normal human being, the antibodies of the body thinks of the human body thinks that there is a additional uh, ailment or disease or external agency which is in the body, and because there is a small spike in the virus, and the other virus, which is the chimpanzee virus, flu virus, is not effective. There are the human body is able to fight that already. So there is an additional protein spike which is attached to the body of this chimpanzee flu virus, and then injected into human body. The human body then start developing the antibodies for this new protein, and that is how they prepare their defenses against the corona. So when the coronavirus approaches the body, then the human body will have the adequate defenses to fight that, and that is how the theory of the vaccination, which is proposed by Oxford and under license being produced by AstraZeneca. So in India, this drug is also known as Covishield, which is approved by the Indian government, and that will be available from June 14. I think that's the date the Indian authorities have said. January 14th onwards, the drug will be available. So that is the very novel kind of uh, vaccination which is available, and it's basically very brainy stuff these professors and scientists in Oxford have done, and that is how their efficacy, they are saying themselves, that is like 70% or upwards of 70%, which is quite high. The second method of vaccination is the old method, old, tested, tried method. All the vaccinations are developed so far, which we get right from our birth till 12 years of our age and beyond also, is developed using this method, which is take the disease uh, virus itself and inactivate it, basically destroy the virus, kill it, and you have the dead bodies of the virus now available with you. You inject that into the body, and we know that the dead virus is not going to activate itself again. We already know that. That is how the vaccination works. So inject the body parts of the dead virus into the healthy human being, and then the antibodies which are present in the human body will then start fighting the dead virus, and they learn how to kill the virus, and so on. So this type of vaccination usually comes in one or two different doses, or three at the most. So there will be a first dose where the dead viruses are injected into the body. Then there will be a date given exactly after like a week or so. The semi-conscious viruses are injected, and then in the third, the actual disease is injected but by the time the immunity builds up, so there is a series of injections which are given, one or two or three, and this is a method of the second level of protection. And this is the second type of vaccination which is also available, and there are different names for it. There is a Chinese, and there is also the Indian medicine which is also available, which is also called Covaxin. That comes into the second category of the old tried tested method. And the third method is, which is still under development because the trials have not completed, is the most innovative and most high tech method of protecting yourself from coronavirus, which is you take the actual DNA of the virus. Don't take the virus, but take the DNA of the virus, and then influence that to create a similar RNA. And I think some of the students of biology and people who know a little bit about their school biology will know that the RNA is actually a supporting nucleic acid for DNA to make its copy. So RNA is a supporting layer of the DNA. So then what happens is you just take the DNA of coronavirus and induce an RNA, and then use that RNA to inject in your skin, and just under the skin. So as we know that there are a lot of fluids also in the body. It's not only the blood, but there are a lot of fluids also between our skin and between different organs. So when the RNA goes, which has the knowledge of the coronavirus RNA, then the body start basically preparing themselves. And there is a very lengthy process. I'm oversimplifying it, but there is a very lengthy process, and I don't want to bore you. But the whole point is that the RNA is injected just in the skin. So it's a very simple vaccination which goes. It's not even a proper injection. It's just a small, uh, prick through which the vaccination can be given, and the antibodies are then produced in the body, and then the body is immune to coronavirus attacks. Now this is the best method of protection, because the antibodies are present also in all the fluids in your body, and not only in the blood but also in the fluid. So I think that's the best method, but that is not yet available. It is under the probably there are few companies which are doing that the third trial, and the data will be available. I think the date which looks like right now sometime in June. So I think all these different options are available today. UK has already started vaccination. India is going to start on January 14th, and India is also preparing big time, because there are the target which has been set is 300 million people needs to be vaccinated. So with this kind of heavy targets, with limited resources, the question is why we need to have multiple different types of vaccination. For a simple reason that when we have to vaccinate the entire mankind, which is 7 billion people, the supply chain is not geared up to produce so many vaccinations of one type. So if we say that, hey, if the type 1 is the best medicine, why don't we just give one only to everyone? The reason being that it needs to be produced, it needs to be packaged, it needs to be transited, transported, stored, and we don't have that kind of supply chain to support all this. That is why we need to join our hands together and all different kinds of vaccination to be available. That is the reason why different vaccinations are being approved by various governments, so that something should be available when the people come for vaccination. It should be available, whether type A, type B, or type C. So that is the reason. So I think this is why we need to have first complete faith in what people have done, what scientists and doctors have done to produce the vaccination. They have done a lot of thinking, and they have done a lot of reasoning. They have done a lot of testing, and that brings to my third point today. People say that, hey, it takes about 10 years to really test the vaccination out in the field, and corona vaccination is coming out just in less than a year. So the reason for that, or reasoning that which I can come up with, is that there has been a lot of learning. there has been lot of automation, there has been lot of computerization, simulation, which are possible today. And the knowledge about the coronavirus up to the molecular level, we know exactly what molecules the coronavirus is made of, and how it is affecting the people. We also know everything about the human body, how each human body of different types is taking different vaccination, how it is fighting the diseases. So there is a lot of knowledge which was not available prior. So when the vaccination for chickenpox and such ailments were being developed, the the technology was not so advanced, but today we had the right skills, we had the right knowledge, and we also have done a lot of simulation. So whatever we could do, we had to do in 10 years, that has been shrunken down, and it has been done very rapidly. So there has been rapid testing methodology. So the scientists have not overlooked any criteria of vaccination. It's just that because there is more efficiency now, the vaccinations have been rolled out, researched, and tested, and then given out to the public. So I think that is a real reason. I thought I will bring these few points out in the public, because there has been a lot of debate, and there are some political parties saying that, hey, don't go for vaccination, which I feel is totally absurd, because it is not the politics which is bringing the coronavirus vaccine, it is the scientists who are bringing it. And there is a proper methodology behind all this. And why we need multiple vaccination? Because the availability. So as time passes, I think there will be more and more availability. I think when the vaccination starts, all of us should go and take that vaccination. It is for our own good. And if we don't take vaccination, then we are at very very high risk of getting the coronavirus disease, if we have not got it so far. So it is important for all of us to understand why and how, and what should be our next step. And that is why I thought I'll bring this to your notice. Friends, I'll end my discussion today, and I look forward to getting your comments. I will put your comments in my next video. Until then, I like to say goodbye.